2002 Toyota. Pray to a God I forgot about. King James Bible on my mama couch. It took a little faith. I got some demons to deal with. I see red, I see red, I see red. Blood on my hands, but I'm healing. And I got my soul back. 2002 Toyota. Pray to a God I forgot about. King James Bible on my mama couch. It took a little faith. I got some demons to deal with. I see red, I see red, I see red. Blood on my hands, but I'm healing. And I got my soul back. 2002 Toyota. Pray to a God.
Copyright disclaimer. Under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976, allowances made for fair use for purpose such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statutes that might otherwise be infringing. Non-profit, educational, or personal use tips in the balance of the favor of fair use. Welcome to Blended Healing. No background today. This is a black out. Today we're going to be talking about, on the Black History Bite, the African American Museum in Washington, D.C. As you came into today's conversation, here is the museum. I want to talk about it today because there's some not good things going on. Not good things. But let's talk about a people's journey, a nation's story. The African American Museum is a part of the Smithsonian National Museum leg of museum for history and culture. The mission that they have is to capture and share the unvarnished truth of African American history and culture. They connect stories and scholarships and of art and artifacts from the past and present to illuminate the contributions, struggles, and triumphs that have shaped our nation. We forge new and compelling avenues, they say, for audience to experience the arc of living history. There are many things that are at the museum, and I just wanted to highlight a few of them, if you will allow me. They currently have at the museum the Making Black Freedom in the World exhibit. In their latest exhibit, In Slavery's Wake, Making Black Freedom in the World, they immerse the visitors in the freedom-making practices of Black communities, navigating both the histories and the legacy of racial slavery and colonialism. They also have on exhibit the Forces for Change, the Mary McLeod Bethune and Black women's activism that connects Bethune's legacy across time to other Black women who have been inspired by and built upon her work. They have a debut in March. It's the first visual art publication called The Reckoning: Protest, Defiance, and Resilience. It has nearly over 100 artworks in a 224-page hardcover book that explores how visual art has provided a rich outlet for protest, commentary, escape, and perspective for African Americans. They have a space devoted to Black design that is now open in the museum. That exhibit features chairs and other works by designers who engage with ideals related to rest, repose, and the history of labor and leisure. They have the iconic ebony test kitchen. It finds a home at the museum. It was built in 1972 as a prominent feature of the Johnson Publishing Company building in Chicago. The Ebony Test Kitchen is where recipes were tested and prepared before they were published in Ebony magazine for home cooks around the country. These are just some of the things that is at the museum in DC. In this photograph that you're looking at, this is depicting Mary McLeod Bethune and the National Council of Negro Women, where you can learn how educator and reformer Mary McLeod Bethune, 1875, and her demise in 1955, dedicated her life to empowering Black women to work for equality by visiting this council. Was a part of many different chapters across the HBCUs. You can find out more about this on their searchable museum website. Ashe for them. Gratitude to them for all of their hard work. This is a picture of inventor Valerie Thomas and the illusion transmitter. Although her father recommended that she stick to girly things, Valerie Thomas later developed the 3D imaging technology used in surgery, TVs, and video screens that you see on a daily basis. We remember you, Valerie. Thank you for your Black excellence. One of the most recognizable is Fannie Lou Hamer. Fannie Lou Hamer challenged the nation in her own American story. She was a key voice and political strategist of the civil rights era. Fannie Lou Hamer was also known for singing freedom songs during mass meetings and marches. We thank you for your contribution. Why are you bringing this all up? I'm bringing this all up because of recent events. The head of the DC's African American Museum is on leave as Trump targets the Smithsonian Institute. Kevin Young has been absent since March 14th, weeks before the president's order taking aim at anti American content. He is the director of the National Museum of African American History and Culture and is not currently in charge of the museum and has been on leave for that long period of time. As Donald Trump is targeting the Smithsonian Museum network for its content, the Washington Post first reported that Young has been on a personal leave for an undetermined period. According to an email obtained by the newspaper from Kevin Gover, the Smithsonian Undersecretary for the Museums and Culture. Shanita Brackett is the Associate Director of Operations of the museum and is now serving as their interim director. The Post reports in the first time that the news of Young's leave has been made public, though there is no apparent connection between his absence and the president's executive order. The museum did not reply to a request for comment about Young's leave. Besides the African American Museum, several other museums under the Smithsonian Network have undergone leadership changes in recent years. Some staff and directors have been removed based upon ongoing complaints, and some people have been put in place. A lot of movement in the Smithsonian. Going back to Mr. Young, MIA. He is an acclaimed poet and essayist and has been a director since 2021. And prior to his appointment, he served as director of the Schoenberg Center of Research in Black Culture at the New York Public Library. Young's leave came 2 weeks before Trump issued an executive order calling for the elimination of what he described as improper, decisive, or anti-American ideology within the Smithsonian. Once widely respected as a symbol of American excellence and a global icon of cultural achievement, the Smithsonian Institution has, in recent years, come under the influence of a divisive, race-centered ideology, according to the order. The order singled out the African American Museum for allegedly proclaiming that hard work, individualism, and the nuclear family are aspects of white culture. In response to Trump's order, Lonnie Bunch, the secretary of the Smithsonian Institute, said the museum will remain committed to telling the multifaceted stories of this country's extraordinary heritage. Bunch added that he will continue to employ the internal review processes which keeps us accountable to the public. When we make a mistake, we adjust, we pivot, and we learn as needed. As always, our work will be shaped by the best scholarship, free of partisanship, to help the American public better understand our nation's history, challenges, and triumphs. I bring to you the order in restoring truth, and the order is restoring truth and sanity to American history. It was penned on March 27th of 2025 by the authority vested in me as the President of by the Constitution and the laws of the United States of America. It is hereby ordered. Over the past decade, Americans have witnessed a concerted and widespread effort to rewrite our nation's history, replacing objective facts with distorted narrative driven by ideology rather than truth. This revisionist movement seeks to undermine the remarkable achievements of the United States by casting its founding principles and historical milestones in a negative light. Under this historical revision, our nation's unparalleled legacy of advancing liberty, individual rights, and human happiness is reconstructed as racist, sexist, oppressive, or otherwise irredeemable flawed. Rather than fostering unity and a deeper understanding of our shared past, the widespread effort to rewrite history deepens society's divides and forces a sense of national shame, disregarding the progress America has made and the ideals that continue to inspire millions around the globe. The prior administration advanced this corrosive ideology. At Independence National Historical Park in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, where our nation declared that all men are created equal, the prior administration sponsored training by an organization that advocates dismantling Western foundations and interrogating institutional racism, and pressured National Historical Park rangers that their racial identity should dictate how they convey history to visiting Americans because America is purportedly racist. Once widely respected as a symbol of American excellence and a global icon of cultural achievement, the Smithsonian Institution has in recent years come under the influence of divisive, race-centered ideology. This shift has promoted narratives that portray American and Western values as harmful and oppressive. For example, the Smithsonian American Art Museum features The Shape of Power, stories of race and American sculpture. This exhibit represents the societies, including the United States, have used race to establish and maintain systems of power, privilege, and disenfranchisement. The exhibit further claims that sculpture has been a powerful tool in promoting scientific racism and promotes the view that race is not a biological reality, but a social construct. Race is a human invention. The National Museum of African American History and Culture has proclaimed that hard work, individualism, and the nuclear family are aspects of white culture. The forthcoming Smithsonian American Women's History Museum plans on celebrating the exploits of male athletes, participating in women's sports. These are just a few examples. It is the policy of my administration to restore federal sites dedicated to history, including parks and museums, to solemn and uplifting public monuments that remind Americans of our extraordinary heritage, consistent progress toward becoming a more perfect union, an unmatched record of advancing liberty, prosperity, and human flourishing. Museums in our nation's capital should be places where individuals go to learn, not to be subjected to ideological indoctrination or divisive narratives that distort our shared history. To advance this policy, we will restore the Smithsonian Institution to its rightful place as a symbol of inspiration and American greatness, igniting the imagination of young minds, honoring the richness of American history and innovation, and instilling pride in the hearts of all Americans. We will save the Smithsonian Institute. As so ordered, prohibit expenditure on exhibits or programs that degrade shared American values, divide Americans based on race, or promote programs or ideologies inconsistent with the federal law and policies. Celebrate the achievements of women in the American Women's History Museum and do not recognize men as women in any respect in the museum. They will restore Independence Hall. They will restore the truth in American history. Public monuments, memorials, statues, markers, or any similar properties within the Department of the Interior jurisdiction have been removed or changed to perpetuate a false reconstruction of American history inappropriately, minimize the value of certain historical events or figures, or include any other improper partisan ideology. They will reinstate the pre-existing monuments, memorials, statues, markers, or similar properties as appropriate and consistent with the law and other applicable law. Nothing in this order shall be construed to impair or otherwise affect the authority granted by law to an executive department of or agency or the head thereof. This order shall be implemented consistent with the applicable law, subject to the availability of appropriations. This order is not intended to and does not create any right or benefit, substantive or procedural, enforceable at law or in equity by any party against the United States. Signed, the man, Donald J. Trump, from the White House. He just told you that he is now going to rid and erase history and rewrite it. They no longer think it's appropriate to talk about enslavement in the United States. or any other laws that made America look bad. For example, Jim Crow. And at the same time, they are promoting segregation. I just wanted to bring to you that African American Museum in Washington, D.C., and other museums in the Smithsonian Institution will now be changed forever. For those of you who have not been to that museum, the order was just signed a few days ago. May I offer that you go now before it's dismantled and pray for us, each and every one of us. And that's it, and that's all. I just want to know what one thing.
Mother, there's too many of you crying. Brother, there's far too many of you dying. You know we've got to find a way to bring some loving here today. Father, we don't need to escalate. Oh, it's not the answer, for only love can conquer. You know we've got to find a way to bring some loving. Oh, yeah. Take it sight, punish me with brutality. Talk to me, honey, so you can see what's going on. What's going on? Yeah, what's going on? Tell me what's going on. Ooh.
1960s, 1970s, 1980s. Pray for the ladies. What's going on? The world is going crazy. Thank God for how Mama and Marvin raised me. On the right track, we fight back and stay black. Bulletproof, speak truth and state facts. Politically correct. From your town to Motown, I never broke down or spoke out for no rights. If anything, I spoke up for your rights. So tonight's the night for me and Marv to get it on. I'm trying to figure out what's going on. Yes.
Everybody thinks we're wrong. They do. Mama, who are they to judge us? Simply don't our hair is long. People, you know we've got to find a way to bring some understanding here today. Take it light, take it sight. People don't punish me with brutality. Talk to me, so you can see what's going on. What's going on? Yeah, what's going on? Wanna know what's going on? All right. I wanna know what's happening. What's happening, my man?
It's a Triller night, Marv.
Now I'm back on the scene. What's happening, brother? What's happening? What's happening?